Chelsea's sudden decision to recall Marc Guiu from his loan at Sunderland after less than a month came as a real shock, but it wasn't a move born out of long-term planning. It was a response to crisis. Liam Delap's hamstring injury against Fulham left Enzo Maresca scrambling for a replacement, and when the discussion took place inside Stamford Bridge, Guiu was unanimously chosen by the coaching staff and management. That alone tells you how much faith Chelsea already have in the 19-year-old. In truth, this wouldn't have raised many eyebrows if Nicholas Jackson had returned with fire in his belly to reclaim his place. The issue is that Jackson himself seems to have accepted that his future at Stamford Bridge is coming to an end. And so, Marc Guiu steps into the spotlight. Right at the moment, destiny is preparing to turn him into a hero. That trust isn't built on blind hope. It comes from what Guiu has already shown in his very first season in London. Signed from Barcelona for just €6 million, a bargain of a release clause, he wasted no time proving his worth. While he wasn't a regular starter in the Premier League, Guiu still left his mark with 6 goals in the UEFA Conference League, finishing as Chelsea's top scorer in European competition last season. But it wasn't just about the goals. What impressed Maresca most was Guiu's mentality. He appeared on the bench 16 times, started in Chelsea's Premier League opener against Manchester City, and even featured in the Conference League final victory over Real Betis. Each time, he carried himself with focus, energy, and a determination that never wavered. Sources inside Chelsea say Maresca values Guiu's intensity, hunger, and sheer passion, qualities not every young player can sustain. In many ways, Marc Guiu and Enzo Maresca are cut from the same cloth. Both value discipline, both thrive on hard work. Guiu's reputation from La Masia was built not just on goals, but on his relentless pressing. So intense, in fact, that some Barcelona coaches once told him to ease off to save his energy. But that was never in his nature. Guiu loves to hassle defenders, to throw himself into duels, to win the ball back high up the pitch. And for Chelsea, in a project built on energy, aggression, and proactive football, that fire has become priceless. It's also worth remembering, Barcelona never wanted to lose him. He was a true academy product, a boy raised in La Masia who announced himself to the world with a fairy-tale debut, scoring just 23 seconds after coming on against Athletic Bilbao at the age of 17, securing the win for Barca. He even found the net in the Champions League against Royal Antwerp. But Chelsea saw the opportunity, triggering his modest €6 million release clause, and forced Barca to part ways with a raw diamond they hadn't yet polished. Yet his first season in London took an unexpected turn. When Nicholas Jackson picked up a hamstring injury in the winter transfer window, Guiu was handed the chance to step into the Premier League spotlight. This could have been the breakthrough moment, but fate was cruel. In the dying minutes of a match, as he stretched for a finish, he suffered a groin injury. At first it looked minor, but in the end it ruled him out for the rest of the season. Guiu himself felt ready to return a month earlier than planned, but Maresca and the medical staff made the call. No risks. It was his first major setback, and Chelsea were determined to protect his long-term future. Now, his status at Stamford Bridge is somewhere in between. He's no longer seen as just an emergency option, but he hasn't yet nailed down a guaranteed starting spot either. Chelsea's number 9 role is shared between Liam Delap and João Pedro. With Delap injured, João Pedro will likely lead the line once Cole Palmer returns. Still, when you look at what Guiu brings, hunger, pace, relentless pressing, and that natural striker's instinct, it's clear why Chelsea continue to believe in him. The real question now is, can he overcome the shadow of injury and come back stronger? His journey through La Masia and a turbulent first season in London suggest he has all the tools to grow. At 19, mistakes and setbacks are simply part of the education. What Chelsea must do is give him the rhythm of regular football, so that he's not remembered merely as a plan B, but as a genuine weapon for the future. At Chelsea, opportunities are fragile, far more fleeting than at most clubs. One night you can be the shining star, and the next you can vanish, swallowed by the ruthless machine of English football. That's the crossroads where Marc Guiu stands today. Either seize this moment to become an integral part of Enzo Maresca's plan, or fade into the background, remembered only as a short-term experiment in Stamford Bridge's crowded history. At first, many thought the arrival of two new strikers in the summer had slammed the door shut on him. But reality has played out differently. Chelsea refused to sell him permanently. Instead, they encouraged a loan move purely for experience, with the clear idea that he would return to prove his worth. And when Delap's hamstring gave way and Nicholas Jackson chose Germany for his future, fate opened a door. Contrary to the rumors, Chelsea didn't chase Conrad Harder or any other name. They left that path open for Marc Guiu. And remember, Guiu isn't just Chelsea's top scorer in the Conference League. It's the way he did it that lingers. Take that winter night against Shamrock Rovers, the performance that made his name explode across headlines. A towering header from Renato Vega's long ball, a poacher's strike punishing a defensive mistake, and finally, a composed finish from Noni Madueke's cross to complete his hat trick. All of it packed into a single half of football. That night, he became the youngest player in Chelsea's history to score a European hat trick. In that moment, Guiu wasn't just a promising youngster. He was a raw jewel, dazzling enough to make the world take notice. Enzo Maresca could barely hide his excitement at the time. He's still so young, but the maturity and efficiency he brings are incredible. Guiu knows he must keep working hard, because the competition at Chelsea is never easy. What Marc Guiu still lacks, according to the experts, is consistency in the Premier League, a battlefield far more unforgiving than the Conference League. Even though he scored for Sunderland in the Carabao Cup against Huddersfield Town, he played only 103 minutes in total before being recalled to Stamford Bridge. Ironically, that very goal now prevents him from representing Chelsea in the domestic cups this season, leaving all expectations resting on the Premier League, where the real tests await. The pressure is heavy, but so is the opportunity. As things stand, Chelsea have only two natural strikers, Marc Guiu and João Pedro. Liam Delap needs time to recover, while Nicholas Jackson's chapter at Stamford Bridge is already closed. The club is in no rush to sign another forward either, with their eyes on Strasbourg's Emmanuel Emega for 2026. In other words, Guiu has a window, a rare, fleeting window, to prove himself. For Guiu, though, the motivation stretches beyond club football. He has just earned a call-up to Spain's under-21s, and he's been told that with enough minutes at Chelsea, the door to the senior national team, and even a World Cup place, could swing open. From a player recalled merely to fill a gap, Marc Guiu suddenly finds himself staring at the possibility of transforming his career in less than a year. This could be his moment. And perhaps, just perhaps, this story could yet find a beautiful ending at Stamford Bridge. The big question now is whether Marc Guiu can replicate that explosive form he showed in the Conference League on a stage as unforgiving as the Premier League. This league doesn't tolerate naive mistakes, nor does it wait patiently for young talent to grow. He'll need to prove himself immediately, with goals, with efficiency, with every single minute he's on the pitch. The good news for Guiu is that his fighting spirit has never been in doubt. Reports from Cobham describe a youngster who trains harder than required, carrying himself with the attitude of someone desperate to show he belongs. And this time, Chelsea have given him concrete assurances. Marc Guiu will get his chance. The only question left is how he will seize it. If he can find his rhythm, show his courage, and keep himself fit after last season's groin setback, there is no reason why he cannot rise to claim an important role. From that teenage debut at Barcelona, scoring after just 23 seconds, to the winter night when his hat trick lit up Stamford Bridge, Marc Guiu's career has always been defined by special moments. Now, what he needs most is consistency. Perhaps it begins with playing the role of a reliable supporting striker, less frantic but more assured, allowing inspiration to flow naturally through his game. Because if there's one thing we've already learned about Marc Guiu, it's this. When the moment comes, he has a habit of making it unforgettable.